There's two main things that Paul is encouraging us to do in this passage. The first one is to be strong. And the second one is to put on the full armor of God. And in verse 10, you may not realize it, but there's actually three words that represent three very different dynamics about the power that God has to make available for us. And in fact, it's the power source that came into your life the moment you placed your faith in Jesus. When Jesus left, he said to his disciples, "Wait here in Jerusalem until the Holy Spirit comes. And when the Holy Spirit comes, you will receive power to be my witnesses." And that power is not just to share the gospel. That power is the power that we need to live our life, to make daily and moment-by-moment decisions. When trials, temptations, or just hard things come, this is the power source that he has given us in the Holy Spirit. And there's three words, like I mentioned. In the first part, he says, be strong, and that's the word dunamis. It's where we get the English word dynamite, and obviously it has explosive power. It's a source of dependable and continuous power. It's essentially the energy source. And so in the picture, you see here a battery. It's where the energy is contained. It's inherent power, power that belongs to the essential nature of something. And the moment that you placed your faith in Jesus, his dunamis power came with the Holy Spirit, and you have in your possession this power to use for God's glory. Dunamis means having the capacity to carry something out, the strength to implement an idea and take a thought and make it in action. Isn't it nice to know that when God calls us to do something, he doesn't ask us to do it in our own strength. And in fact, he doesn't ask us to do it at all. He says, I will do it. By my Holy Spirit and by my power, I want you to step aside and watch as I unveil what I'm going to do. And then even though we receive God's power in our spirit under new birth, we'll be unable to use it until we learn to relinquish ourselves and surrender. The first word is dunamis, and that is the source. That is the inherent source of the power. The second word is Kraatos. And that's where he says, be strong in the power. It's mastery over self. It's a word that speaks, and it comes from the origins of reins, like we have on a horse. When you pull on the reins, you're able to stop a mighty charging horse and stop it dead in its tracks. And that is exactly what this word means. It's the word that is associated with the power to rein ourselves in. To be able, by the power of the Holy Spirit, it's the word that's associated with self-control and the fruit of the Spirit, which is not exactly controlling yourself. It's God supernaturally giving you the ability to set aside what you are feeling, what you are thinking, and to be able to make a choice consistent with his will, with his purpose, with his principles. So you get the picture that you're in a situation and you're feeling a certain thing. And you feel certain emotions that are welling up on the inside of you. It's the ability here to set those emotions that you yourself are feeling and to make a choice consistent with what God is wanting to do through you in that situation. It's the ability to take a temptation, a thought that comes into your mind and to rein it in and to take it captive, as Paul says, and make it obedient to Christ. And the Hebrew equivalent of this word is gabor, which means to overcome, which speaks exactly to what we were just saying. It's to overcome yourself to enable God to live his power and his strength and his will through you. The third word is ɩσχύς. And this is where he says, be strong in the power of his might. And ɩsχύς is speaking to the physical strength or ability to do what he has called you to do. And so it's no good to have the source, the battery, the energy source, and then have the switch and to flip it on if nothing happens. We need the source, we need the switch, and then we need to physically make a choice to do what God has called us to do. He's given us the energy, the power. He's given us the ability to make that conscious decision, and he's given us the physical energy and power to carry it out. And so we have the battery plus the switch, and the light goes on. And that is